Assalamualaikum, my dear brothers and sisters. This is Brother Julian Roland from New Muslim Care. We are here at Twins of Faith 2015 with Shaykh Alaa. One of my favorite Shaykh, I have to say. Always a pleasure to have you here. It seems you love Malaysia.
First, I love you.
Okay.
And then, of course, I love Malaysia. Who doesn't love Malaysia?
Mashallah. You've been here for many times and you're always happy to be back. Last time you came was for Parenting Matters, a fantastic class, especially for people like me. I just became father. And what are the tips you want to give to new parents who wants to raise their child in an Islamic way?
That's a very good question indeed. The first thing that I usually tell the brothers and sisters, listen to the ayah in Surah An-Nisa where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَلْيَخْشَى الَّذِينَ لَوْ تَرَكُوا مِنْ خَلْفِهِمْ ذُرِّيَّةً ضَعَافًا خَافُوا عَلَيْهِمْ فَلْيَتَّقُوا اللَّهَ وَلْيَقُولُوا قَوْلًا سَدِيدًا. Which means, if you fear for your lineage and for your children, you want to protect them, Allah did not say get him a big insurance policy or a Swiss bank account. Or He says فَلْيَتَّقُوا اللَّهَ وَلْيَقُولُوا قَوْلًا سَدِيدًا. First, called فَاء التعقيب, meaning right away. Lam, تفيد الطلب والأمر. In that case, is a command and request. Have taqwa, ongoing. فَلْيَتَّقُوا جماعة in plural and ongoing. وَلْيَقُولُوا قَوْلًا سَدِيدًا. Say the righteous utterance, either enjoying good, forbid evil, and so on. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you that down payments in order for you to protect your children.
MashaAllah.
All you have to do is lead by yourself, lead by example, walk the talk, have taqwa. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will protect your children.
MashaAllah.
And of course there's plenty of ayat and ahadith to prove that. Again, يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. Is which all mankind, not just Muslims, every human being. اتقوا ربكم. Be conscious of your Lord here because He's the one that provides for you. Not ilah, not the one you worship, because the monotheism of the Lordship drives you to the monotheism of the Lord of the Godhood. So because He's the one that provides, He's the one that gives you sustenance and everything else, He's the one that deserves to be worshipped. So اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم. Why? He's the one that created you. So ألا له الخلق والأمر, is He the one that created, that He gives the command? Of course He does. الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة, from one single soul, which alluding to Adam. وخلق منها, He created from that single soul زوجها, meaning the spouse, in that case the mate, and which is Eve. وبث منهما, from them, the both two, this couple, our forefathers and mothers, which is women, plethora of women and men, رجالا كثيرا ونساء. Again, Allah repeated the same word. وَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ الَّذِي تَسَاءَلُونَ بِهِ وَالْأَرْحَامِ. Be mindful of Allah that you will be held accountable for on Judgment Day. وَالْأَرْحَامِ, the plural of a womb, which means the wombs of this family will get together with the wombs of this family. Be careful because you'll be held accountable on Judgment Day.
It's a serious commitment.
Absolutely.
MashaAllah, and you're helping also a lot of married people to get along together. You are a consultant. And what are the experience that you can share with our viewers about solving problems between a man and his wife? Because we know the shaitan primary goal is first to destroy the family, then extend to communities, countries, and so I think we really have to make our families stronger. What do you recommend for this to be easier for the couples?
First recommendation is don't get married. No, if you don't want to have arguments, don't get married. But that's not the case. We know that we're human beings. You're marrying a totally human being. You're a different human being. When you get together and live together, it's just bound to be happen. But it's not that. It's how you handle that.
Right.
It's your attitude toward that. It's how you behave toward that. It's like when you don't freak out. You don't handle things out. It's how you calmly handle things and your attitude toward it. It will actually get you in that peaceful state of mind. But if you don't know how to handle it, and you don't know the difference between the two, you don't know the language, and the difference is how to turn a negative into a positive, how to actually decipher the hieroglyphics. So I tell the brothers, listen, when you get married, when you look at your wife, you're looking at Mac. And when the sister gets married, she's looking at that Microsoft. So these are two different computers. You need to download an app to decipher the hieroglyphics. So when you understand the language they speak, why they're doing things, it will make it easier for you. So if you are different or discussing certain issues, you have to first have certain rules and regulations.
Correct.
First of all, the first thing you do is actually you have to decide. You have to think first. What am I going to discuss? How am I going to discuss it? When is the best time to do it? How is the approach? You know, how to actually give them the sandwich theory. For example, the soft bun, then the beef, then the soft bun again. For example, you don't tell your husband or your wife, you know, you're stupid. I know you can handle this. You're a loser. I should have never married you. That's a terrible way to start. So you have to think of what you're going to say, how you're going to say it, pick the right time, right environment, and so on. Then when you think about this, you decide now, okay, on what you are going to focus on, meaning priority. You're not going to talk about everything at the same time. Say Sulaim, radiallahu anha.
My wife will love this interview.
Yes, of course, anytime. So when his son died, it's a long story, just to make it short. Sulaim, the smart intellectual woman, he came out of a long journey. She did not tell him her son has died.
I remember.
Yeah, it's a beautiful story, just a reminder.
Very
How is
smart
my
woman.
son? He's serene. She didn't lie. He's not moving. He's dead, but he didn't tell him that. He's silent. Sukoon. Tranquil. Now, after this, she had beautified herself, adorned herself.
That's amazing.
Yes, lowered the lights, prepared food, had intimate relations. That means she looked after all of his physical needs, calmed him down. In the morning, give him an example. If our neighbor gave us something and trusted with it, he come back and ask for it. Should we give it? Of course. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala took your son back as an amana. He got mad, went to the Prophet ﷺ, complained. He says, did you have intimate relations? Yes, may Allah bless it. Allah blessed them with more children, father, and so on. So in order for you to have this, when you do this, then use the kiss method. Keep it simple and short. So when you talk about that, focus and make it simple. Don't argue. Don't open the other bags. And once you do that, you have to agree on what you are agreeing on and on your what you decide. Then accept it. Accept it. Accept that you don't have to agree on certain things. 3 A's: alter, avoid, alter, and accept. There's a lot of things that you can do, but you have to have a right attitude. It's not you, then me. It's we. How can I help you? So when a couple comes to me and they want to discuss issues, I tell them to make sure they have the golden rule. You're going to tell me a concern that you have, and you're going to tell me what's your suggestion and solution, because you're going to be a part of the solution now. And then you're going to tell me how I'm going to help my husband or my wife to be able to implement the suggestion that I have a concern with.
MashaAllah. This story about this woman, you and me, that this is just amazing. It's massive wisdom. It seems so hard to imply in this century. Like, we are so drama people, Every time there's a small injury, and may Allah help us to apply this, because it's very necessary, to deal with this type of issues when it's death. And so we're gonna come back. We're gonna go for a short break, and then finish this interview, inshallah. More good things to share. Jazakallah khair. Assalamualaikum. We are back now with Shaykh Alaa, mashallah, a great story that you just shared to us. And I know you're passionate about education. You're working very hard in Canada to uplift the game, especially with schools. What are the current projects that you are working on?
Yeah, you said it right. We are trying to educate the people and actually raise awareness through the mainstream. And the best way to do this is actually through education, through the public schools. In that case, it's very difficult for some people on the other side. So we're trying to have our own schools, and that's why we're trying to work on these projects right now. So hopefully we can have the root cause. Look at the children to be raised for the new generation according to Quran and Sunnah. But not just that, we want them to be leaders, and that's what SSI is all about. Right. So we hopefully come in and have the people from the beginning. Same like the golden arches, get your kids from the beginning. We would like also to have your kids, but on the right path from the beginning, to be able to have leaders, the best Muslim doctor, the best Muslim engineer, the best Muslim lawyer, and so on. So we have our identity, and we can work in that way, so we can have that dunya and deen, both sides, this life and hereafter, as always Shaykh Tawfiq says, the dunya in your hand and Allah's love in your heart. And that's what we're trying to strive, inshallah, to establish.
It's true that SSI in Malaysia is a true success. And I remember when we started in registration, some non-Muslim parents came to us and I had the thought to register their children. I was quite amazed. Do you think in the future we can see that happening in Canada, where we both know that when children memorize the Quran, for example, it's going to develop the brain in such a fast way, and maybe it's something that even maybe non-Muslim, maybe I'm dreaming, but even non-Muslim parents would like to consider, because we have a lot of good results on that aspect.
I don't see any dream that is out of reach. We can always dream and dream big. I don't see that as a hurdle at all. As a matter of fact, we invite others to come and share with us. This could be a path of da'wah to show them to what Islam is about and to learn and welcome them. That may be the best thing ever happened to them, as a matter of fact. Right. And you can see, we can certainly welcome the people who are cautious of their having, looking after your children. That could be a good investment for them. So when they come and see what we're all about, and hopefully we can help them. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَتَعَاوَنُوا عَلَى الْبِرِّ وَالتَّقْوَى وَلَا تَعَاوَنُوا عَلَى الْإِثْمِ وَالْعُدْوَانِ. Help one another in doing righteous deeds and good deeds. So for that, we welcome them. I'd love to see more non-Muslims that come and join us at SSI.
How do you see the dawah growing in Canadian? Like, it seems Canadians are more open than Americans as of now, especially what's happening, and they give a good impression. We saw the way they took care of the refugees of Syria and trying to sing songs, Muslim songs. I mean, it was very warm welcoming. How do you see that, this mutual love that we can feel even among non-Muslim Canadian and Canadian Muslims?
Well, we are lucky as Canadians, I have to admit, especially under the leadership of our new Prime Minister, Mr. Trudeau, Justin Trudeau. As opposed, you understand, I don't do politics, but it's an obvious, again, because his predecessor, Mr. Harper, was a staunch enemy of Islam, and he built his campaign against on Islamophobia. So we are certainly lucky in Canada to have this beautiful gate of da'wah open, and the freedom of speech is on the right pretense and the right context to do it. And he held a young Muslim girl, and he says her mother told me, I want to make sure that my daughter grows up to have her own to wear hijab and to have her own freedom of religion, and I promise. And I mean, the man is honest and genuine. I met him personally, and we certainly are lucky in Canada. Whether it comes to the States or not, I've been to the States quite a few times. The American people themselves are very nice. Now, I don't talk about the foreign policies that mix things, or the politics or the hidden agendas. They don't represent America for me. The American people represent Americans. When you meet them personally, they're very nice people. Yes, you will have the oddball here and there. But that's everywhere, even in Muslim countries, believe it or not. So we don't generalize and do anything else like that. But in Canada, the dawah is nice and strong. We're doing great. I have 2 or 3 people in every week that come into the center and this is just our center. You can do that, the math on every center around the world. Usually women, believe it or not. And because they actually have the media going against women, when they look at Islam and they see how Islam honors women and raises them 3 times higher than men, and they know how their own lifestyle degrades them and sells them as, forgive me, the way that they sell women, they say, well, you know what, we are honored, not degraded. so they become Muslims. Out of conviction. We don't force anyone to do anything.
It seems like it doesn't do a favor for a country now to be against Islam, like France or the United States, on a diplomatic level, because we are now 25% of the population. I was talking with Sheikh Murad this morning about the halal business, for example, which even non-Muslim countries like Japan are taking very seriously, and it seems that it's not an interest of a prime minister or anybody who wants to stay relevant in the world to wage those type of war against 25% of the population, if you think about it.
Absolutely, and you're right. I mean, this is not a very smart business deal.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not talking about a certain individual that he's just taking this path as a promotion or for his own business, whatever he wants to do. God knows best.
Yeah.
But when he did that, he got basically lashed at when he was doing such a statement, meaning ousted, cornering or isolating the Muslims.
Yeah.
It's not very smart. I mean, if you are going to be the leader of democracy, how could you be a bigot, a redneck, or be a hypocrite yourself that do not practice what you preach,
Right.
and so on? So this is going to be a slap at the American people if he goes through. I mean, again, it's up to them. It's a democracy in action, but certainly it would not look good at them if they're going to choose a person that declares out loud that I am that type of a guy. Hopefully that will not happen.
MashaAllah. May Allah help us all, and thank you so much for your time.
My pleasure.
And for answering to my questions, and I hope to see you again in Malaysia. May Allah preserve you.
Looking forward to it. My pleasure. Thank you for having me.